I've been getting a lot of the questions of people asking, when is Shib going to wake up? When is it going to finally arise from this coma that it's in and start making these more aggressive moves like we're used to when it comes to Shiba Inu? And I need to show you guys a couple things that we're dealing with right now. Just make everybody aware of, frankly, where we're at in the crypto market. It might not be as far out as people are anticipating. So if you guys are new or haven't already, show your support for the channel down below. Hit that subscribe button. That bell is free to do. It'll keep you updated anytime there's new content live here on the channel. So I will say that overall in this market cycle, it hasn't been the most fun. You would think that Shib would have made some more aggressive moves or maybe gotten higher in terms of price. I see a lot of people like to dog on Shib, no pun intended, when it comes to price because it hasn't hit its prior all-time high or we haven't breached the highs from all the way back here in March. And guys, that's really not surprising. And you have to think about why. Ask, why hasn't this happened? Is it because Shib is dying or fading away? No. Is it because right now there's too much competition in the space? No, it has nothing to do with that either. The reason Shiba Inu has not made these big moves yet is because we have not been getting retail adoption. I've been talking about this since all the way back here, right? We've had a little burst here and there. We actually had some good adoption take place here in in February and March of 2024. And that's why Shib had such an aggressive move in a very short period of time. It's because retail outside the space got triggered. They started entering, and we obviously saw a big boom across the crypto market. For Shib to do a 4.5x in 7 days is awesome. That's classic Shiba Inu. That's what we're used to. But when we look at the rest of this market cycle from basically that first week of March onward, we have not been getting that retail adoption for Shib, for most of the market in general. Yes, you could argue that some people entered, L1s, US-based layer ones back in the fall. But apart from that, there hasn't been a whole lot going on. Okay, because what we keep dealing with is every time it seems like we're going to get a little bit of a push and retail outside the space is paying attention, there's something to bring us down. There's something to cause retail to just freak out and run away and hide. It's like, think about this. Retail is like a baby deer, okay? Retail is like a baby deer, and it gets spooked very, very easily. If you don't believe me, look back at the last several weeks when we were talking about some of the exciting moves that were happening in the market, the pumps in terms of price. We were tracking global search analytics. We were tracking exchange app downloads. Guess what? Exchange app downloads, nowhere in the top 200 now. Retail search traffic in terms of Shiba Inu, a lot lower. Crypto search traffic is still higher, which is good because obviously BTC is being mentioned a lot. We have a lot of things happening in terms of crypto legislation, but for the most part, retail just kind of keeps going through these little waves, and they haven't been able to make that push into the space quite yet. And that's fine, all right? Because the longer we do this, the more explosive the moves can become. Because what we've seen during this time is holders rising for Shib, and what that is people inside the space creating new wallets, accumulating Shiba Inu, whether it's a couple bucks worth or $100 worth or tens of thousands of dollars worth. It's happening. We're seeing whale accumulation, right? We're seeing exchange supply removal. We're seeing all the right things on a fundamental level that people complain about time and time again. And guys, I get it, but we need to talk about the fundamentals, because here's the thing: if the fundamentals are going to shit, that's a problem. If the fundamentals are continuing to get better, that's a great thing, because then when that big push takes place, it allows you to make the moves like we saw back here. For anybody that followed me here on the channel all the way back here in 2023 into 2024, which may be a smaller group of people because my channel wasn't this size back then, we talked about fundamentals. And then there was finally a moment where the fundamentals allowed this breakout to happen, okay? Right now, fundamentals are better. Holders are higher, exchange supply is less, whales hold more, and guess what? Everybody's convicted as hell. Right now, Shiba Inu has an average hold time of 2.8 years. That's a very long hold time. Right now, meme coins are just not what the market is focused on. Okay. The market is focused on just making it through what we're in at currently, or where we're at currently. Guys, for the last 24 hours, $6.78 billion in trading volume across meme coins. That is what we were seeing before we even had this big breakout in the market. So we've kind of returned back to the mean, if you will. Right now, for example, Shiba Inu, about 200 million in daily trading volume. That's about what Trump coin has. SPX 500 has a lot less. Floki's lower than that. Fartcoin's about the same in terms of Shib, in terms of trade volume. But just take a look here. It's very, very similar throughout the space. Obviously, Pudgy Penguins had that nice push the other week, but now it's kind of fallen back to the mean, right? Everything's just following each other, okay? And we won't have these big, massive breakouts until we see retail adoption. We can make steps forward. We can do good moves in terms of price, kind of like what we did back here, right? But if you want these moon candles, we got to have retail come in from outside the space. Now, when is that going to happen, right? That's the big question. And didn't mean to go on a tangent for so long. But the big thing I've pointed to is ETH has to break $4,100. It's got to break 4,100. If we're not breaking 4,100, we're not creating those optics outside the space. BTC has done a good job of kind of sparking things. Obviously, that surge to a new all-time high in terms of BTC, it made a lot of people pay attention that weren't paying attention. But when BTC is the only one doing this and everything else is still lagging, it's hard to get that push that you need to get retail to make moves, to actually get that money moving from the sidelines, even in crypto right now, back into assets, to get it moving from people's wallets to assets in the crypto market. All right. The good news, though, is we've still had big injections of liquidity in the space. We're still seeing a lot of capital hit exchanges, not necessarily buying yet, but moving into the market in general. So it seems like everything, at least in the market, is in a good spot right now. Okay. We might have some ups and downs. We might have some dips. Maybe like we talked about earlier, Shib, continues to follow this trend down, right? Frankly, for me, it doesn't matter what's happening on the short term because we could be following this trend for a very long period of time. This could basically be a smaller or a much larger version of this right here. And then out of nowhere, Shib can do one of those. All right. This isn't a guarantee or financial advice or anything like that. But guys, that's the way crypto works. You need new people coming into the market. Right now, we are still in a speculative era. We're getting closer to a more tech-driven era, which means you're probably going to see your L1s pop off. You're going to see RWA tokenization be a big thing. But don't sleep on meme coins because retail loves meme coins. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below. But have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.